Hi, ladies and gentlemen, lovely listeners. I'm Caleb Lamte, your host for the Young and Old podcast. In this podcast, I interview some of Africa's top achievers across various disciplines all over the world. They share their habits, values, and principles that have brought them this far. Stay tuned and enjoy the conversation. My guest for today is Osamudiamen Imasuen, a product designer at Printivo.com. Mudia, which I use as a short name for him, is often mentioned in this episode. Mudia is a Figma Africa ambassador where he meets fellow designers to share knowledge and discuss things relating to design. He has the quest to discover how design drives adoption and growth. This has driven him to be learning and experimenting often. In this episode, we spoke about becoming a designer, being a creative, ethics in design, and more. You can follow Media on Twitter at Imasuen-design. This episode was recorded in December 2020. Happy New Year. Welcome, Osamudiamen. Your name is so confusing. Forgive me, but I think you have to mention that again. Or you can teach me if I start.
So my name is Osamudiamen Imasuen.
Osamudiamen Imasuen.
Yeah, or you can call me Mudia.
Mudia. Okay, I think so. We use Mudia if it's accepted.
Yeah,
Right.
no.
Yeah, so let's start on a lighter note. I mean,
Okay.
what's been one of the fun moments you've had in your work as a product designer?
Um, fun. I think I enjoy my job in general. But I enjoy my job more when I'm doing stuff that people get to use in their everyday life or help people better. So recently there was a product I worked on that I almost gave up on ever seeing get built. So it was built. It took a year for the developers to build it, but I logged onto Twitter recently and I saw a big agency that does advertisements for social media was talking about my product. So I think it was more like a fun and proud moment because I had fun working on the project and I could see that it was really helping people read better. So it's a project to help read better and get access to the kind of especially most.
Okay, so you said it's a product that makes people read better, right?
Yeah, think about Netflix but for books. You subscribe to a lot of books. You get books on a subscription basis.
All right, I think that's nice. Okay, so we move straight into your childhood. How was your childhood like? Where did you grow up, and how was the school like?
Oh, okay. So I grew up in a place called Edo State. Um, my childhood was pretty chill actually. Um, what did I do? I mostly read books when I was a kid. My mom is a professor, so my house is more or less an academic home. So what I did with my childhood was basically just reading and reading and reading. Where it was fun, it exposed my mind a lot, and I also had time to play. I was one of those kids who actually learned how to make a kite on their own. As interesting as that
Wow.
sounds, I learned how to make a kite when I was younger. Yeah, so stuff like that.
Oh,
It's pretty chill.
all
But
right. So you've mentioned your mom is a professor.
yes, he is.
Uh, so with product and things like design, I don't know. At that time, how was the field like? Was she interested in you going to design, right? Or did she want you to go into maybe law, medicine? I mean, those fields. What was her response to your choice in design?
Have mostly been a curious child, and my mom wanted me to read. My mom wanted me to read um engineering, right? Because I used to always play around with computers and all of that. But in reality, I'd rather just not do that. I was just curious about how things worked. So I was mostly just playing around with stuff, right? Playing around with any electronic gadget I could find my hands on. And Because of my curiosity, I ended up joining the church media house. So while my mom assumed I was going to, I started getting interested in visual design, mostly motion, actually, video editing. So as far back as secondary school, I was already taking video editing classes, editing church messages of the pastor, and then playing with Corel Draw and Photoshop. So I just liked design then, but I really considered it as something. So when it was time for me to pick a course to read, I picked computer science because I also had an interest in programming at that point. So yeah, and I at first my mom didn't understand why I was picking programming, but I mean after a while she came around. So yeah.
So, in how was school like? I mean, for tertiary, being, is it computer programming, right?
You mean university?
Yeah, in the university, yeah.
So university was a letdown. I thought since I was studying computer science, I'll get a lot of knowledge from there that I'll learn a lot. I'll be able to apply to the real world. But by the end of my first year, I realized that university education here was 2 decades behind and was not going to serve me for what I wanted to do, right? So I just survived through the rest of it. By the time I was on my 100 level, I realized that school was terrible and they had nothing to offer. So I survived through the rest of it. But throughout that process, I gradually picked up my interest in design. So when I got to university, because I wanted to quote unquote study, I stopped designing and stopped video and motion and all that. But I picked up over time, mostly because I needed extra cash and people were going to pay me to design stuff. It was mostly graphic design then, or designing stuff people could print on their shirts. So I was able to get that done, and I started also designing apps for people. It was something I knew I could do. So I would see a mobile app. Someone say, "Okay, I have this mobile app I want to do for my final year project. Could you help me design?" So I can to present. So I would design it and then they will present, put some PowerPoint slides and stuff, and present in class. And then someone approached me and said he wanted to build an app. He wanted me to design what the app will look like. It was for news, so I designed that. And then I don't know. I just started playing around with stuff that had to do with building and designing. So that same person taught me how to use WordPress, and then I started building websites live for clients and making money of that. And then I just got into the world of designing, right? But by 2017, I sort of took a break from it all and went to serve in North in Sokoto. And then I became interested in programming once more and web programming to be specific. Then I pivoted a bit to try out Python and started writing code for machine learning, right? I started learning machine learning. I had an interest in that. So I'm one kind of person who has tried a lot of stuff because if I have an interest, I like to pursue it. If I see that it's not something that I can do or it's not worth my energy, I drop it, right? I don't shy away from stuff. So I pursued it. And the funny part is, while I was pursuing machine learning, design kept coming up, right? As I was doing machine learning, design was what people come and meet me for to do a job for them and I'll get paid and stuff. So I said, you know what, let's see how this design goes. So I stopped doing everything that had to do with development and focused on learning design from an academic point of view. So I started taking academic courses. I took courses from University of Minnesota on Coursera. I started getting more involved with the community. I started holding meetups on my own. I would be the one to talk to the hub. We'll talk with the hub, then they'll give me their space. They were actually encouraging, right? And we started organizing meetups. And then Figma community, someone introduced me to the Figma community in Africa, like Figma Africa. And then I got like access to a bigger community. But I just kept doing my stuff, organizing meetups, talking to people, helping people I could, designing, and I started growing. And that's basically the story of how I grew in design. It was basically a lot of help, people helping me out, people pointing into stuff, the community, and then people putting me on projects randomly without even knowing what I could do, but just saying, you know what, try your hands on this. And that's how I was able to also build experience in different sectors while being a young designer.
All right, I see. So for you, I mean, finding out that school was a disappointment, if I should say that, what still kept you in school?
My father was paying school fees.
Okay. And the urge to stay committed as a son.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I had to. I had to.
Okay.
He paid the fees already, and they were not cheap. It was not
Okay.
cheap. I went to a private university. I went to a private
Yeah.
university, and I mean, what was I going to tell my dad that I don't like school anymore? I just had to get it done.
Okay.
Just get it done.
All right. So you mentioned earlier that you found out the school was decades late.
Mhm.
Can you break that down for us?
The quality of education was terrible,
Mm.
and I wasn't getting value for money. Basically, it was basically me just seeing that these guys are not ready and they were not teaching the right thing. They were not making me ready for the outside world. You get like nothing they taught in school was going to help me outside world. So the only thing that school had as an advantage was basically meeting people, the kind of relationships I had to build and all. But in terms of preparing me for the outside world, there was none of that, and that was pretty sad. So yeah.
Yeah, I see. And for the case in machine learning, is it because it wasn't patronized? It wasn't, I mean, it was something you could use commercially. That's why you just stopped that. Was it solely on that?
I really don't know, right? It was I don't want to call it a phase, but it was something that I fancied. I think I will still go back to it, but in a different way. So I will mostly do UX of AI, like the user experience of machine learning tools and all. So I'm still interested in how it works, but in being the core person to build it, I don't think I'm interested in that.
Wow, I see how, I mean, the change has like, he has reset the whole vision again. So now it's UX of AI,
Yeah,
right?
so yeah.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. But in your younger years, what was your dream work or dream job to do?
Um, I wanted to be I wanted to be a pilot when I was a child, when I was really, really young. When I was in like kindergarten, I wanted to be a pilot. But when I was in primary school, I saw a computer for the first time, and then I knew I was going to be doing computers. Like I went home and said, "Mom, mommy, 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 I saw a computer. I want to be a computer scientist." My mom always tells me that story. So yeah, when I said
Mm,
computer, I knew that's what I was going to do in my life.
oh, I see. All right. So, um, in your work so far, I mean, coming from graphic design to web to products,
Uh-huh.
um, have you come across situations that have nearly led you to giving up on, I mean, your job or your dream and some of those visions you had for yourself?
Um, Not really. I am pretty. I'm pretty. I don't know. I enjoy what I do, so I don't really have those problems. It's just the only problem I have is burnout. Like I burn out based on the amount of work, but I don't think I've had that particular problem ever since I started working.
Oh, okay. All right. So, reading from your bio and information online, it was stated that you went to do your service in Kaduna. I think that was the first time in the north, right?
No, I did my service in Sokoto.
In Sokoto. Okay,
Yeah.
so what led you to Kaduna and what kept you there? What is still keeping you there?
Okay, so I saw when I was in Sokoto, I knew I was going to stay. I knew I liked the north and I wanted to stay back, but I did not know how. I did not know how or what to. I did not know what I was going to, where I was going to work, right? Or where I was going to be at. So I decided that I would search, and I told my friend about it. That look, I think I'm going to search, and just know what I'll do in my life. And then she said, okay. And then one day she comes to me and says, oh, I found a place. No, no. She comes to me and says, I told her about it. And she was like, oh, okay, like whatever I decide, I should let her know, right? That's it's a good idea to stay in the north. So one day I'm on Twitter and then I see a hub in Kaduna, and then I realize that the hub has internet, it's a co-working space. Um, they're basically friendly. They talked about the having mentors, Cola, which is Cola, right? Which is what I'm still part of the hub team today.
Yeah.
And I was like, but I'm going to relocate to this hub. I'm going to relocate to Kaduna and join this hub. And my friend was like, "Oh, okay, cool. She knows the owner." And then that was basically it. She told him, and then I joined the hub. I left my parents, and then I joined the hub. And yeah, that's been it. I just realized that I couldn't stay in Lagos. I lived in Lagos for a while. It didn't seem like a conducive place for me to keep on living in.
All right. But as your location limited you on the works or the jobs you get, has it been a limit?
Nope. The funny thing is the Lagos that people kept saying I should come back to. 80%. The company I work for is in Lagos,
Okay.
right? And I don't live in Lagos.
Mm-hmm.
Like most of the freelance jobs I get are in Lagos. And then when it comes to like getting work done, right? Since I work remotely, there's never been a problem.
Okay.
The I also work with international clients, and I mean, it's just the internet. All I have to
Mm.
do is have internet connection. I can get work done. My work doesn't require me to be in an office. My work requires me to understand what needs to be done and then
Okay.
create solutions and all.
All right. So we know you are a product designer. I mean, it's all around you. And for those who are maybe hearing this for the first time or who are not familiar with this field, what can you tell them about product design?
Eh? Sorry?
Yeah, so I'm saying for those who are hearing, I mean, who are getting to know what product design means, or they're hearing it for the first time, and for younger, say junior designers, what is product design to you?
Um, Designer way we say product design is basically you understanding the business, creating products while advocating for the users, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that is a fair definition, a good definition. You are solving problems for people, you're advocating for the users, and you're also understanding the business model and why this product is needed.
All right. All right. So one of the things I've come across is that mostly people in your field start from graphic design.
Uh-huh.
Um, why is it the case? Why is it the case most of the time? Why
Because
can't
that's
people just jump to product design? I mean, from any other sport?
but product it's still under graphic design. When you start creating visuals, right? It's still
Mm-hmm.
on how to understand graphic design. It's a fundamental graphic
Okay.
design. Fundamentals is what shapes how what you do in UI design, for instance.
Okay.
So I think it is only fair that you understand how graphic design works before you move into UI design. For example, grids is not something that you learn anywhere, right? It's a graphic design fundamental, grids,
Yeah.
typographic, lettering, and all of that, white space. Yeah.
Mhm. All right. So, what led you to becoming an ambassador for Figma Africa?
Um, I love the product. That's the truth. So actually, before I became an ambassador, I was holding meetups for Figma, not Figma Africa. I used to do Figma meetup on this. Then we'll talk about stuff on design, right? If you check
Yeah.
my old meetup articles, let me see if I can access Medium right now. Let me. I used to write on. I used to write on a lot of stuff. I used to write on design thinking, human-centered design, design
Mm-hmm.
systems, design and business value of design. This was stuff I used to just like write and enjoy because I really love the design, right? And and when my friend Charles in this, he introduced me to the person who was in charge of Figma Africa, and that person also is supporting my other meetups. And then towards the end of that particular year, they made me they made me a they made me a Figma Africa ambassador. So one of those such examples is when I had a meetup in December 2018 that had to do with designing for education in Africa. I also did a low-level introduction to design systems, stuff like that. So yeah, it was basically just passion that made me continue, made me start creating meetups and joining meetups.
So, I mean, how did you get that done? I don't know whether you had a sponsor in the beginning, But how was it gathering people? I mean, people of the same field, working in the same area. How was that?
I didn't hear you.
Yeah, I said, so in starting some of your meetups,
Mm-hmm.
how did you start? What was the brain behind it?
So if I had something I wanted to teach or discuss with people, all I would simply do is create like um, a kind of post on meetup.com, tell them what I'm talking about, and put it on Twitter. And people who are interested will come around. I also inform people in the community. I kind of have friends in the community, and I'll say, hey guys, let's have this meetup. Let's talk about this. So my meetups then will start at maybe 15 people. The later I go to 20 people. The later I go to about 50 people and more. Right. So you're just people who were interested. I try to just make it look as chill as possible so that people won't feel like it's something too serious and they'll be able to just like come talk with us.
All right. All right. So in your work, what are some of the things you do regularly to improve your work as a designer?
I study, look at other designers, talk to other designers, watch movies, um, basically relax. Also, I found out that if I sleep a lot, if I sleep better, um, if I sleep better, I design better. So when I'm more rested, I'm a better designer.
All right. I see. So you mentioned earlier that when you were young, I mean, you got familiar with books. You usually pick books from the library, and I think in one of your read on your Medium post, you mentioned were you reading Oliver Twist, and finding
Yeah.
out that you just wanted more. How was that situation like?
So I have my family house actually has a library. Actually has a library, right? So books were part of my life growing up. It was what I was brought up. Like I grew up in an academic home, and I don't know, it became a habit I had. Funny enough, over the years, because of life and all that, I kind of lost my reading culture, which I'm trying to regrow now. But when I was young, I used to just like drown myself in books and stuff. I used to read about everything ranging from evolution to black holes, particle physics. I don't know. I was just a very curious person, and it was fun. And I plan on going back to that phase of me because believe it will help my creativity.
All right. So what book are you reading now?
Um, So I read multiple books at the same time. But one I'm focusing on right now is Tribes by Seth Godin. I started learning marketing, so I'm reading books by Seth Godin just to get my brain prepared before I start taking courses. And then that is for marketing. Then for design, I'm reading a book. I'm reading two books on design. One is called Now You See Me by Michael Beirut. The other one is more technical. It's called Making and Breaking the Grid, and I can't for the life of me remember her name. Okay, yeah, I can remember her name now. Making and Breaking the Grid by Samara and Timothy. So yeah, those are the books I'm currently reading.
Wow, this is interesting. I see. But how has books, I mean, helped you in your work? How has books made your work successful?
Um, I feel they have exposed me to more knowledge, to be fair, right? Let's start with technical one. Understanding grids make your work better, makes you understand layouts better, makes you more consistent in what you create, right? That's for grids. Michael Beirut's book basically just helps you see life and design at a better and broader field, right? And then Tribes just is a marketing thing, right? So I'm not understanding that, oh, the company I work for currently is a web development company. So like growth and marketing should be also on my mind when I'm creating stuff, when I'm creating products. And I should be able to also come up with concepts that marketable concepts that will be able to get more users or just retain the users we have. It's just me expanding my knowledge, right? There are problems I solve with design that basically I just remember, oh, I read this in a book. Yes, and it comes to my head. I've read like maybe two, three books on design systems, and it's kind of helped me design systems better. And I don't know, it also makes me realize that a lot of the things people say, a lot of articles are mostly just people taking opinions and trying to fit you into a box, right? So for instance, if you read articles on design systems on the internet, you feel there's a particular model to follow, a kind of construct to follow that is just putting you in a box. But when you read the books on it, you realize that different organizations adapt it based on what they do, and that you can do that also based on different projects you're doing and based on your organizations. So yeah.
Oh, all right. Yeah, so you've mentioned for a couple of times that you do courses online, like Coursera and these things.
Mm.
How did you find that road, and why are you still using that medium?
I found it when I came to Collab, right?
Mhm.
I saw uh, um, I saw that to get good education, like for design education, you need to get really good education. And the best at that point was Coursera to me. It's one of my favorites because, I mean, Coursera it takes an academic approach. And what's better than an academic approach to understand design? So yeah, I still use them. For right now, because I'm doing a lot of focus on visual design, I use Domestika. Domestika courses are really, really, really good. I recommend them. I think I'm taking one of their art direction courses right now. You understand? So yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, from our conversations, like you are always adding up. You're always adding up. And
Yeah, you need to add up.
okay.
You need to add
No,
up to like,
for someone like you, where people might think that, oh, all what you have to do is maybe sit down, be working more. And who knows? It comes up naturally. Like it's just like a feeling or an intuition. It just comes up. But I think you're making us see that it's maybe it's
it
otherwise.
was
You have to.
it
Mhm.
was recently I realized that creativity could be learned.
Okay.
Right? Before I thought that you just had to understand the rules. So I just had to like read a lot to understand the rules, and then I'll create based on those rules. And people were like, "Oh my god, you're so creative!" But I thought that right? Anything is a rule. Once you understand the rules of stuff, you can start making. And the way you understand the rules, you can start breaking them. But then I started understanding that creativity does go beyond rules. You can absorb. You can actually get inspired, and then you can start creating new stuff. So right now, I'm creating like a particular new product, and the design approach I'm taking is completely different from anything I've ever done before, right? But it's because I started learning stuff like properly being deliberate about my art direction, right? And I showed some of my friends it's just one script, they're like, oh, they enjoy the direction I'm taking right now. And I kind of see that, okay, if I just keep applying myself and keep reading up or leveling up, I'll get better at what I do, right? And the way to secure yourself for the future is just to get better at what you do.
Yeah. So what are some of the approaches you have taken to find yourself being creative or being called a creative person?
By just creating. That is the truth. That's the step it takes to be creating. A lot of people take the
Mhm.
a lot of people take the creative part of being a creative for granted way too much for my liking. Just create. Like, do you understand? You say, what can I get better design? You design. That's the way to get
Okay.
better.
I see. But recently, I was reading a post. I think it's one of the Nigerian tech guys. He mentioned that people have issues with the idea of just start, because sometimes even starting is another whole thing. How to start and all that's another whole thing. So
Sorry.
if yeah, so I said I was reading a post recently by one of our Nigerian tech bros,
Mm-hmm.
and he mentioned that the idea of just starting is another issue, because even in starting something, one has to know how he's starting it and a lot of things around starting. In the same manner, when you talk about just creating, what would that mean? If I'm just creating, how would I know that I'm on this way, I'm getting to this point, I'm achieving this?
So one way or the other, right? You either know what you want to create or you don't know what you want to create. If you know what you want to create, good. Just start putting pen to paper, mouse to keyboard, hand to mouse, or whatever, right? If you don't know, look how people have created and just break it down. Take a page, break it down, try to redesign it, understand the decisions they made. It helps your brain. No matter what, you have to train your brain to be able to get stuff done. And if you don't, if you don't, man, if you don't continue training yourself, if you don't continue applying yourself, like creating, you will just get stuck. And that's what happens to a lot of people. People get stuck thinking about creating instead of creating.
Okay. Wow, I see. I'm noting that down. Okay. So what's your motivation? I mean, in this life, in doing your work, in your personal life? What gives you that? What motivates you to get things done?
I don't want to say deadlines, but but so do you know this feeling where there's a day I was on the internet and somebody talked about, oh, he saw some particular data on a platform, or he's happy that this platform is there. It was not talking about the platform. It was not really talking more about the platform. It was talking about the details the platform contained and how important the details were. And I was like, I designed that platform. Do you get? So when you create stuff that people use and it's just easy, people are not even complaining about the platform. People are talking about how they can use it seamlessly. You just be happy. You just be happy, like almost. I get to create stuff people use. I get to create stuff that will impact people. I believe design is life, and design can impact lives, right?
Yeah.
So aim is one day, you'll be using something, right? Whether you're in Ghana, Nigeria, Rwanda, Tanzania, you're using a product that seems core and important that blends in with your life. And I want to know that I was part of the team that made that come to life. Just imagine working at Google, right? People using Google search. Every bloody day, I use Google search. I know someone on Twitter who works there. Like every morning he wakes up and knows I'm working in the team. I create a product that makes lives better. That, that's
Uh,
that's enough inspiration for me.
I see. All right. So no, I just want to mention what are some of the products that you admire a lot? When I mean, in your work, you see that these are some of the top products with respect to design that one can have or use or do.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
I'm asking that what are some of the products that as a designer when you see it, it's like that is the kind of product you want to create. What are some of the products you have or you look up to?
Um, I just mentioned them actually. It's Google. Anything Google makes inspires me, mostly
Okay.
because it just goes around the world. You understand?
All right.
So
Isn't it because they have a large adoption?
it's not just a large adoption, right? I was watching a show the other day on how Google built something that helps people um, who have speech impediment, like who are speech impaired, who helps them talk better, like talk to their phones better and stuff. I think the people who have ALS, yeah, I think it's ALS, and that is impactful work. It doesn't just have to be high adoption, it means impactful work. You get. But in Nigeria also, another company I really like is where I work, Printivo. We do web to
Okay.
it's web to I actually like the company. Like it's not just about
You
uh,
working for them.
yeah, I actually like them. Like I like what they are doing. I like the fact where you can actually come on your laptop. Actually, I have been to the printer. I've been to printer shops in Lagos. I've been to printer shops in Kaduna, in Edo State, and also in Abuja. Right? Trust me, it's not a pretty experience. So if I can sit in my house, design, and then order for print, or as a designer, I can create merch, and then people can just order, and I don't have to go to the stress of going to the market myself, getting shirts, sorting stuff. I would take that any day, anytime. Do you understand? Like
Yeah.
that is that I think is pretty important, and it helps and meet people's needs. It just makes life easy for them. They get and
Yeah.
I really enjoy working with them on the product and the internal tools we are building also. Another company that I like also is called Paystack. It's a payment company. I feel Paystack right now has a look of a media company with an engineering team. They give me a vibe of Apple, but
Okay.
more ethical, but they are
Yeah.
pretty. I enjoy seeing their products come out. Yeah.
Uh, I see. That's nice. That's nice. And what are some of the values you work with? Some of the values you keep to?
So ethics in design is pretty important for me. So ethics,
Pardon.
like
Ethics in design.
yeah, ethics in design, yeah.
Okay. Can you walk us through that? Mention a few
So
ethics. Oh, it's a
creative,
whole thing on its own.
it's a whole thing on its own, right? Maybe reading on it, but whenever you are creating something, being a part of that creation, contributing to what has been created, you should ask yourself who it impacts, what the consequence would be. And a consequence doesn't mean a bad thing, right?
Yeah.
Consequence is a reaction to an action. So I believe you should weigh the consequences and how it will affect people positively or negatively. Also, don't throw another designer under the bus. Don't steal people's work. Be a great person. Put your designer, your user, sorry, in mind. But make sure whatever you're creating doesn't harm people or isn't harmful. So harmful doesn't just mean bodily harm, it means don't contribute to creating system that promote racism or segregation or some other terrible stuff. Create more inclusive systems. Um, so yeah, that's it for me mostly.
All right, all right. And any principle you've worked with for life so far? I mean,
I didn't hear you.
what are some of the principles you have worked with? I mean, for your life or in your life?
What do I what?
Principles. Some of the principles
Mm.
that I mean you as a person work by.
Um, do good work.
All right.
That's the principle. It's not much. You just do good work.
Okay. I see. And what do you often do in your leisure times?
I watch movies a lot. I chill with my friends a lot. Spend time with my girlfriend also. So I'm literally pretty. Oh, and also I like going out to those try new places to eat.
Okay.
So
I
yeah,
see.
that
Interesting.
that's what I'm like. Yeah.
All right. So I mean, I think how many years have you been in design works?
So professionally, as a profession, I started 2018. That's when I started taking it seriously and really studying and working on myself. Yeah. So that's how long I've been there professionally.
All right. And from the beginning to now, what are some of the lessons you've learned along the way?
Um, be consistent. Be open to helping people when you can,
Okay.
and be humble, but be sure of yourself. You get have a mind of your own. And recently, also because I've also started learning being self-aware. It's kind of hard, but it's something I started learning recently. But yeah, that helps you live a better life, a balanced life.
So in the case of self-aware, is it that knowing your shortcomings and what you are capable of? Is it that?
Sorry?
I mean, in the case of being self-aware, is it about knowing your shortcomings and what
Yes.
you are capable of?
Yes, your shortcomings, why you're doing what you are doing, kind of thought processes you have, which you do just basically regularly introspecting of some sort, which kind of introspection, real-time introspection.
All right, right. So for you, what is your definition for success?
Sorry?
For you, what's your definition for success?
Uh, Success in what exactly?
Okay, so let me go into your field straight. As a designer or product designer, what do you see as success?
When the clients, it can't really be measured. Yeah? Success can be when the client say, "I love your work. Let's start developing." Success is also so. Recently, I designed something I told you about, yeah, and then I saw
Yeah.
people actually use it. That's success for me, right? But
Mhm.
it's the product can maybe fail in the future because of some things I didn't see at the moment, and we don't have enough users who would expose that, right? Success is basically the product staying alive. But to be fair, right, once one soul is happy with what I've done, I kind of count it a successful product, and once I know it's not harming anyone,
Mm.
I count it as to be a successful product.
All right. So have you designed? I mean, products that maybe it might not be your downfall. I mean, your reason, but the product went out of existence over some time, and maybe you're sad about that. Have you ever been in such a situation?
Um, yeah, that was mostly a development problem. They couldn't get it. They couldn't get a team to work on it. Yeah, I worked there. There's a product, for this product I worked on last year, and I was talking
Founders
um
of.
to the founder, and he said he had to kill the product because I mean it wasn't viable economically. And I understood. So yeah, that happens.
All right. All right. I see. So when you think of, I mean, of people, who is the first person that comes to mind when you think of a successful person for you? Well, who are some of the people or who is a successful person to you? Not only in
Um,
design, generally to you.
Elon Musk comes to mind, and Bill Gates, and not because of their riches, but because these are the people who have said, "Yo, I want to get this done," and they do it. Do you
Alright,
get?
yeah,
Those are the people who are who are saying, "You want to get this done," and then you see them fucking go ahead to do it. It is fucking amazing.
I see. Alright, so in the next decade, where do you see yourself um being, or where do you see yourself standing?
Uh, Next decade.
Yep.
So I want to. I don't know of enough design schools in Nigeria, but I want to be part of one. I want to create a design school, be part of the reason why one is created.
Yeah, I see.
So yes, I want a proper design school. That's where you have Stanford Design School and stuff.
Yeah.
I want. Yeah, that's what I want. I want a design school in this country.
Okay. So maybe you could be starting some in the next decade, if I'm right.
Yeah, within the next decade. Yeah. Then after that, I'm pretty sure I'm going to retire to carpentry. I want to have my own carpentry workshop and just rest. I can't work forever. So yeah,
Why carpentry?
I like woodwork. I like the idea, the concept of creating something that's timeless. The chair in the library of my father's house was a chair my father got when he was a bachelor, and now I'm a bachelor. And like it was well made. It's something I find pretty interesting.
I see. And your skill in drawing, is it still active?
It is. Oh, I still do low. It has not. My problem is it has not gotten better, and that's because I've not been consistent. But I'm something I'm going to have to walk into a routine next year, because I realize that everything I'm good at is consistency, right? So I walk into a routine. I'm also get an iPad next year if I'm able to get the money. But yeah, that would really help. But I still do. I doodled yesterday night. My friend came over. We're discussing some random stuff, and I was just doodling. So I still like keep my hands active to not forget how to hold the pencil, how to draw stuff. So it's pretty cool.
All right. So if let's say you are given the chance to put, a statement out for people on a major billboard. I don't know the highways in Nigeria, but I think there'll be a bigger highway, and you are given the chance to put a statement on the billboard for people to read out, non-commercial. What would that be?
Learn to enjoy life.
Wow, wow.
I'm not even joking. That's what it should be.
All right, and can you give us the reason behind that statement?
A lot of people live life without enjoying it. A lot of people just go through the motions, right? Instead of actually just um, instead of actually putting their best into living life every day in a happy manner. So, for example, but the movie I watched yesterday actually talks about that. It's called Soul. Soul is a Pixar movie. It's basically someone who lived his whole life not realizing that, see, you should live, right? So I've come to that realization because sadly, I've lost a lot of friends, like death, and like life is short, right? You come to realize that life is short, and no matter what it is you are doing, if you are not deliberately enjoying your life and living and being in the moment, you're wasting your time. It's why most times, see, things as small as when you watch a movie, right? Enjoy it instead of looking for what you're going to pick out to criticize. Do you get? Just things that just that small. Like at every if
Yeah.
it's food, try new food. I went to Rwanda this year and my friend went out and then I saw the menu and I ordered for something. I was like, have you eaten it before? I said no. I said I have to try it out. He said, but even him that lives there has not tried it out. He doesn't try food anywhere. I'm like, Omo, you don't know that you like it. You don't know that you like it until you try it now. Do you get?
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Funny enough, he now tries to like love stuff out now. He has completely gone vegan, which is something I'm not sure he would have done before, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just my principle. Like enjoy your life, I beg. If you don't overthink these things, life is too short to overthink.
Yeah. So for people who want to go into product design, what are your words for them?
Um, this I get asked this question a lot, but I think I finally found the answer. It is buy the book by Designer Babe. Because it's very detailed. It's like every answer we give all together. Somebody sat down and wrote it, right? She wrote a very good book, and then she provided a curriculum and a path for it to follow. Do you get? So yeah, do it. Pick up the book and follow it religiously. So yeah.
All right. And what are your final words before, we leave?
I think my final word is no matter what happens next year, be determined to enjoy it. This year was rough, but
You're moving. Yeah.
like
So
I
where
said,
can people reach you, follow
um,
you?
Twitter, my Twitter bio has my email, so if it's really urgent, send me an email. But can also reach me on Twitter. I'm pretty active there. I'm pretty active on Twitter, so yeah, that's a good place as any to reach me.
All right. Yeah, so it's been nice having you, Mudia. I think you have been open, you have spoken of a lot of things, and I'm sure our listeners will enjoy it or are enjoying it.
I hope
They'll
they
take
do.
their time to, for designers or those ones going to design, I'm sure they've been given some basics to set them on the right path. And that is the goal for this podcast, which I appreciate you so much for that.
Yeah, thank you very much. All
All
right,
right, so
guys.
yeah,
Take care.
that'll be it for
Thank
today.
you. Thank you for the opportunity to talk. Just let my speak my mind to other people to listen to. I really appreciate. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hey guys, thank you for listening to this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. We promise to bring you new episodes weekly. Subscribe on the various platforms you listen to this podcast on. You can follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at The Young and Old, and on YouTube at The Young and Old Podcasts.